Today we're going to talk about the propane side of your water heater and why it may not be getting hot. There are some things that you can do and some things that you can check. And in addition to that, if you're getting a flame, we're also going to talk about some of the things that you need to do to make sure that that is working properly. Hello, welcome back to How to RV. I am Jason, and today we're going to go over all that stuff. But before we do, I'm going to leave a link down below so that you can get to a playlist of all the different videos that I've made so far about the water heater. So let's go ahead and head out to the water heater so that we can talk about the components and the things about why it may not be heating with the propane side of the water heater. All right, first off, this little wire here and this ground wire over here, and there's another plug back in the back here. If you can see it in the videos right there. That is what activates this solenoid in order to come on so that propane can get through here. Now, propane line comes in through here from the bottles on the front of the RV through the solenoid. Solenoid opens, mixes with air right in this little area right in here, and then travels through this tube and then lights on the other side. Once the flame is started, you should be able to look inside of here and see the flame running. And if you do, it should be nice and blue for the most part, just shooting in there inside the tank. That's what heats up the water. Also, you have up here two reset buttons. One is for the electrical heating element, and we'll get into that in another video. But we have this button up here for resetting the 12-volt side also. So if something goes wrong, one of these little breakers inside of here may trip. You could push on those just to make sure that the power will come on. Now, if you're not getting this solenoid to cut on to get propane to come through, it could be a few things. One is the propane's not on. It'll detect it and not allow it to turn on. What happens, you'll hear a couple clicks, and if it doesn't get any propane coming through, seeing it inside of here with the temperature sensor back in here, then it will turn itself off or it'll fault down and it won't come on because, well, there's no flame. Also inside of here, there's a temperature sensor and a little spark thingy that fires the air and the fuel mixtures that's going inside of there, or the propane. The other thing that you can check is on the inside, and that is the 12-volt fuse to make sure that that's not blown, because if the fuse is no good, then none of this is going to work either. Now, mind you, if your 12-volt fuse inside is no good, then there's probably something wrong, something going on in here that may not be right. So if you do replace that fuse, then make sure you check out all the other wiring also. So make sure you come in and check all these wires as well as wherever else the wire may travel inside of your RV, because if there's a break in the wire or it's grounding out or something like that, you don't want to keep changing the fuse and then having all this create a fire. So let's say that the propane is coming through. The solenoid engages, propane comes through, it ignites, and you got a little bitty flame inside. But that flame inside of here is yellow. It's not blue like it should be. If that's the case, then go ahead and turn off your propane so this is not running anymore, and then turn off your switch, whichever one turns this system on. From there, what I want you to do is to look inside of this tube, because bugs and stuff like that like to get in there and make little nests, lay eggs or whatever. And because of that, sometimes you need to go inside of this tube and clean it up. If this tube is plugged and not enough air can be pulled in from right here to go in and mix with the fuel, it will come out as a yellowish tint. And the reason that it is a yellowish tint is because there's not enough oxygen mixed in with the fuel, and therefore it can't turn blue. Going from yellow to blue means that it's getting hotter. It means you'll get hotter water. Another indicator would be little black soot all over the place in here. Black soot means the same thing. Means that you're not getting enough oxygen in with the propane, therefore black soot wants to come up and coat everything. If it is turning black, then shut everything down and run through here and clean everything. Now, I don't know if you can see it all too well, that there's a little nozzle right here. That's where your propane comes out of, and sometimes that little hole can get plugged also. If it does, then you can pull this tab right here, pull that off, get this tube out of the way, and go in there and clean that little hole. Be careful though. If you clean that hole and you damage it or make it bigger or put any burrs in there or anything like that, then it's not going to work correctly and you just need to replace this whole piece. As I was saying before, you need to go in here and find one of these fuses that goes to your water heater. As you can see here, none of mine say water heater, so I would have to go and pull each one of these one at a time and check to make sure that none of them are bad. And worst comes to worst, on the back side of the water heater right here is a control box. If that control box goes bad, then nothing on your water heater is going to work and you would most likely need to replace it. I don't think that there is a way that you can go in and troubleshoot troubleshoot it? And if you can, then please leave down in the comments on how you can do that, and I will relay that to everybody else in another video. Since we're in here, a little pro tip: if you don't turn these little valves, one here and one here, then you won't bypass the water heater. So when you go to drain it from the little plug outside, you won't get all the water out of it, and you won't bypass it to get all the water out of the lines in the RV. So make sure you turn those. And then reverse of that, if you're getting ready to start your camping season, then you can turn those back, get water back in the tank, and good to go. Now, during your experiences, if you've had your water heater fail on the propane side and you had a different remedy or something else that you found, then please share that down in the comments below, and I'll add that into another video to show some others to let everybody know kind of what you went through in order to have something corrected. All right, now to viewers' comments. This is about the video about the Blackstone griddle. I don't need one. And it says, could you deep fry a turkey using the Coleman road trip grill? I don't think so, because I don't think the heat will actually transfer to the pot in order to do the frying part. But I've seen some pretty big turkeys out there, and as little as these grills are, I kind of wouldn't recommend it, mostly because it's going to be a lot of weight, and I don't think it's going to be safe. So I'd have to kind of say stay away from that one and be safe. This comment up here is about the water pump check valve bypass, and it says, very helpful. I subscribe and I hit the like. Well, I much appreciate it. I hope it was helpful to you, but there has been some changes to that since I made that video, some of them for the positive, and I'll share that in another video to come. But nevertheless, thank you very much for sharing the pleasant comment. This next comment had to do with a travel trailer gas electric water heater explained part 2. And that one says, my water heater got on fire when I turned on the propane. Now, I must say, when you are checking your propane to find out why it's not working, I should have added this earlier in the video. When you are working with the propane side, always keep a close eye on things, because you do not want it catching fire. In this case with this one here, playing with gas, electricity, and all those other things can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't, get a technician to help you out. If you do, then just be careful. We want you to be safe and go home the way you came in. And as always, keep it safe out there, enjoy your water heater, and God bless.